Imagine selling your startup to DoorDash and then turning around and building an AI-powered machine gun that shoots drones out of the sky. That's exactly what Steve Simoni, who's the guest on today's podcast, did. He's the founder of Allen Control Systems. I was delighted to get to talk to him. Unfortunately, Steve's video cut out, so this is an audio-only interview, but it's one of the best discussions that we've had on this podcast. We talk about his journey from Navy nuclear engineer to defence tech entrepreneur, how his Bullfrog system, which is the anti-drone system that he's built, is redefining the battlefield. I actually got to see it in real life recently in Detroit. It's an amazing system. And why Steve thinks every stadium, every city, every military base is soon going to need an anti-drone system. If you want a glimpse of the future of what warfare and technology looks like, you don't want to miss this discussion. As you can see, I'm holding this mic. I'm still getting the new studio set up here in Abu Dhabi. We will have lots of great guests, lots of great conversations for you shortly. Hope you enjoy this one.
Steve, you are maybe the best example of the bits to atom shift, or something that we call the innovation avalanche. I know you were in the Navy, but you sold your last company to DoorDash, and then you were a senior director of project management there. Now you're building an AI-powered anti-drone gun. Just tell me more about that journey.
Wow. Entrepreneurship, it's hard. So, I left the Navy in 2013 and moved to San Francisco. And I got into tech startups. When you're out in the Bay Area, everyone's doing a tech startup. And if you're not doing one, you're kind of weird. It's like everyone's doing it. And so, I started my first company, which failed. And then I started another company that failed. And then I started my third company, which was the restaurant software one that we were able to exit to DoorDash. And that was a big success. And then right when we sold it, Putin invaded Ukraine, the week after the deal closed, and we saw the rising drone threat, and we're like, oh wow, we need to do something about this. And we noticed that the industry and the government wasn't really investing in what we thought was the right solution, which was a kinetic kill solution using bullets. And that's because of the economics. But overall, the journey of entrepreneurship, I've been doing this for 10 years now. I love it, but it's very painful in many ways.
Eating glass, right? Constantly eating glass. Before we get to Bullfrog and Allen Control, yeah.
I was that's before
we get into before we get into Allen Control Systems and Bullfrog, any stories you can share about your time as a nuclear engineer in the Navy?
Well, a lot of it was classified, obviously. I worked on the reactor protection systems for the Virginia-class submarines and the Ford-class carriers, so we were responsible for the instrumentation and control in the reactor compartment. So obviously, a lot of it's kind of classified, but I would say that it sounds really, really cool, a really cool job, but it's the nuclear Navy. So it's very bureaucratic and slow, but on purpose, because these are nuclear reactors on a warship underwater with people around it. So safety is the most critical thing. So you don't make a lot of changes quickly because if it works, it works. Let's keep it going. So I would say that's the main thing. It always sounds cooler when I talk about it now versus when you're in it, you're just kind of in this somewhat of a boring desk job, but it's a very important mission and a very important job.
And as bureaucratic as it is, the Navy has basically been if you stack ranked the organizations by the number of reactors they've built, the Navy's top one, at least in America.
Oh, absolutely. And we've had no reactor accidents in the program's history, which means no fission products released into the atmosphere. And so that's a thing that's the program. Imagine that the program, we call it the Naval Reactors Program, is very successful. Largely because of the core principles set by Admiral Rickover. When he founded the whole program, and it's a very disciplined organization, and we've been able to, have these warships underwater supporting, missions around the world for our government and not have any reactor accidents has been kind of an amazing thing.
So listen, tell me about this guy, Bullfrog. What does he do? Why did you make him?
Well, it's funny that a bunch of Navy nuclear engineers, because my co-founder is a Navy nuclear engineer and our VP of engineering is a Navy nuclear engineer. It's a bunch of nuclear engineers reinventing the remote weapon station. So the remote weapon station is what you see on like Humvees in Operation Enduring Freedom or Operation, OIF or an OEF. They're like the mounted turrets that go on vehicles that you joystick control. And the joystick is good, but the problem is you can't joystick control it to hit a fast-moving drone. So what we've done is taken this product, which is widely available on many vehicles in the Army and Marine Corps and Navy, and we've upgraded it with AI to be able to auto-target, auto-recognize drones, and then instead of a joystick, the software aims and shoots the drone.
This is obviously an incredible hardware product. It's a hardware system, but as you said, it runs on cutting-edge software, cutting-edge AI. Just talk me through the tech stack of the Bullfrog and all the development that went into it.
Yeah, so this is something about robotics I don't even think like a lot of maybe investors realize, but you can't really just write software, like really cutting-edge software and make a robot work. So like any company that's just like, oh, we write software for robots, that's like not a real thing to me, because robotics is about the interface between the hardware and the software, and it all works together. So, we have a team of really talented engineers, mechanical, electrical, software engineers, computer vision engineers, machine learning engineers, and they all work together to build Bullfrog, because it's the interface between the software and the hardware that really matters. So like basically, like for example, the custom servo motors, like the servos that are in Bullfrog, that's something we've designed to work for this application of hitting drones. You can't just like buy these off the shelf. Like all of it's like custom inside of Bullfrog, of like the firmware, the robot dynamics code, the PCBs, like all of the electronics, and then the hardware, we cut all of that steel ourselves too. So like it's a fully vertically integrated turret company, which I don't think anyone's ever said that before, but it's like I call it like the iPhone of turrets, because it's fully vertically integrated. Like we pretty much do everything because the application is so difficult. We need to control every piece of it.
Did autonomous turrets exist before Bullfrog, or you just talk me through the history?
Yeah, like big ones have. So ours is like the first one in this small of a form factor, but like on Navy warships, they have the Sea Whiz. Which is like it looks like R2-D2 sitting on top of a big Navy warship. And it's like, basically what it does is an incoming missile coming to your ship to destroy your ship, it will engage it autonomously and spray a cloud of bullets in the air, like tens of thousands of bullets. And then the missile will get hit, intersect the bullets and get hit. We're a little different. We're not really spraying bullets. We're turning a machine gun into a sniper rifle. So like a couple shots per drone is all you need so it's a little different, but they're both autonomous though, just different control systems, which is why we call the company Allen Control System. It's a modern control system that makes the gun a lot more accurate than existing autonomous systems.
I think of those Chinese drone shows as like a Rorschach test. It's like when you see 10,000 drones light up the night sky, what do you see? How do you think about drones, and in the sense that how many could a single Bullfrog defend against attack of drones? Do you see it as a network of Bullfrogs? Do you see, Bullfrog as one system and then you have electronic warfare? Just talk me through how you think about protecting against swarms.
So we're trying to get the engagement down for each drone to less than 10 shots. And an M240 does a 10-shot burst. So you can do the math, but like basically it's less than a couple seconds per drone. So you could overwhelm the Bullfrog with, I don't know, maybe 20 to 30 drones. We don't want to give the exact number out to the enemy. But then you add more Bullfrogs and then you're in good shape. And then layered defense with electronic warfare. So electronic warfare we don't make this at our company, but other companies do. That'll like get a lot of the drones, but some of the new drones you can't use EW on, and then Bullfrog picks up the rest. So it's kind of like, this is part of a layered defense. This is like the last line of defense after all the other defenses fail.
Just talk me through the technology. I know you guys have developed cutting edge computer vision. I think you measure over 40 variables in real time. How do you train Bullfrog?
So we use synthetic data in Unreal Engine, so a video game engine. We generate all these like photorealistic 3D worlds, and we have our game developers on staff, and then we train the model based on that. So we drop the threats into Unreal Engine, we take pictures of it in Unreal Engine, and then we train the neural net on our search camera system with that. And then now we're actually adding in real world data too, because we found that synthetic data gets you pretty far, but you still need to infuse real world data as well to make it a little more accurate too.
Talk to me about the UAS groupings and why it's relevant for Bullfrog to be able to kill up to Group 3 UAS systems.
Yeah. So Group 1 through 3 is what we can neutralize. Group 1 are like the small drones, like a DJI Mavic, like the Chinese one you can buy at Walmart. They're small. And then there's the Group 2, which are a little bigger, a lot of like ISR planes, or like, like small surveillance planes, or like small fixed-wing craft. It's like a Group 2. And then Group 3 is like the Iranian Shahed. So it's like a bigger one-way attack drone. And Bullfrog can get all of these. The thing with the Iranian Shahed, though, or a Group 3, is that, we're engaging them up to a kilometer. The one drawback, I'd say, is the military wants to engage those much further out. But again, in the spirit of last line of defense, if those get through, like, we will be able to take Group 3 down. It's just a little too close for comfort, obviously, because when you hit it with the bullets, it still might be on its glide path towards its target. So it still might detonate near you. However, again, if the other interceptors miss it, we will take care of it.
How fast is one of those Group 3 drones going? Like, how fast could it close that kilometer of distance?
Yeah, those so it varies based on the payload size. Right. Anywhere between 50 to 75 meters a second is kind of like what they're at right now. But again, it can vary with depending on how big the warhead is on it and stuff, and like what other stuff they have on it.
Not to give the enemy too many ideas, as you said, but I'm fascinated by the OODA loop, or the basically constant game of cat and mouse, at least in electronic warfare. So you had drones, and then we jammed them, and then we put the fiber optic cables on them. Do you see a similar kind of evolution happening in the AI assisted space, in the sense that is there evasive measures coming out that try to basically go around kinetic solutions or whatever?
They will try to change the acceleration of the drones, so to try to dodge. However, in the directional acceleration, and the rate of change of the acceleration, like the jerk, is what they call it in physics. And so that's like stuff they can do. Again, we have plans for all of that. I'm not going to explain how we do that, but we have plans for that. And then also camouflaging the drones to like make it harder for the vision system to see. So like against the tree, if the drone's coming in against a tree backdrop, kind of camouflaging the drone like a tree, same colors, is another way. Again, we have plans for that as well. But that's always it'll be a cat and mouse game for sure.
Tell me about the difference between active and passive detection and why that matters.
So passive detection is important when you're going from point A to point B, like if you're like a military logistics convoy, or if you're on an operation and you need to you're at point A, which is maybe you're starting from a city, and you need to get to point B, which is some ridge line strategically outside of the city, and you need to travel there. You don't want to give off too much signature, because if you give off signature, then the enemy could like artillery shell you or know where you're at or send drones at you. So we built a fully passive search system, so we can like search the sky passively to not give away the convoy's position or your platoon's position in transit, and then neutralize any threats that come by. Active is like radar. Radar typically, most radar systems are pretty hot, meaning like the enemy can see where it's coming from, and those are fine because radar works really well. But if you're trying to be like secretive, you can't really use that, or you just you'll get iced by artillery.
How does something like this kinetic system change and like an on the ground close quarters battle, like relatively close quarters battle like Ukraine, versus something like the Pacific Theater?
Yeah, I mean, So different weapon systems have different uses in different theaters, obviously. So like in Eastern Europe, Bullfrog is, going to be probably one of the most important products in that theater. Like it will transform that battlefield. Any sort of land war, really, it will. At sea, we will be very useful, but in a different way. So our 50 cal version of Bullfrog will go on autonomous vessels like Havoc or Saronic. Name any of these companies. There's a bunch of autonomous vessel companies. They will affix Bullfrog with the 50 cal on it, and so those will be trained to shoot at other autonomous vessels the enemy has, so that we can shoot them before they get close and detonate on our boats. And so that'll be really important in the Pacific theater. So maybe it will be more ground targets or sea targets in that theater versus the drones.
You talked about Bullfrog as a defensive tool so far. Do you think it inevitably, a kinetic system is going to end up as an offensive system eventually?
Yeah. I mean, this is a highly lethal weapon. It's more accurate than any existing remote weapon station that the government has access to. So it's obviously more accurate against all ground targets. From day one, it will be a lethal weapon. Yeah.
Talk to me about your partnership with Fonterra. Fonterra is basically making these unmanned ground vehicles. Think of them like mini robo Waymos or something like that. Are robo vehicles and robo guns a match made in heaven?
It really is. I mean, if you have a really good autonomous vehicle with an autonomous gun, that kind of can be like a battle. I call it like a battle droid or something like from Star Wars. It's like from the future, basically. So you can imagine 1,000 of those just coming over the hill, all autonomous. Like that's like a whole infantry platoon, or bigger than a platoon, really. I mean, it's a brigade of autonomous guns, and so I think I can see that replacing a lot of the frontline soldier activity. As both companies achieve scale, that's where we're headed. And it's also really good for just other things, like if you're going from point A to point B as a platoon, you can send your autonomous vehicles out ahead to get standoff so that, you can protect yourself from incoming threats because you send your vehicles with your guns out ahead of you.
Is the key to getting to dropping the cost of these systems? Is it just technical capability? Talk to me through, like, why isn't that the case in the battlefield today, and why will that be what the battlefield looks like in a decade?
Well, I mean, I got to get back to work, basically. Hurry up. Like we're just building. No, we're scaling up our manufacturing, and we're finishing our product suite. And yeah, I mean, we're going to be pumping these out, and the Forterra and the other companies like them, they're already making a ton of them. So I think it's going to happen in the next, 24 to 36 months, pretty fast here, like as we scale at ACS.
Talk to me about the civilian applications of this. I almost think in 5 years, every stadium, every presidential, public appearance, every concert will have anti-drone and anti-drone, systems. So could you see, something like a Bullfrog with non-lethal weapons, like at every Taylor Swift conference or whatever?
Yeah, we have one coming out. We have a laser dazzler variant that just dazzles the camera of drones. So it's not a full laser that burns them, because lasers are dangerous for hitting satellites behind them. Because if you hit a laser on a stadium and it misses the drone, it could go into space and kill a satellite. And so we have a dazzler variant that just points at dazzling the camera, and so those drones get blinded. And that'll be that's something that we're going to do. I can't announce it yet, but we're going to be working, on the homeland with that. And then there's a search cam that we have that's passive search, sky search around the stadiums too. So we have a dual use. Obviously, we're not going to put guns on the mainland, but we have other softer kill variants that are in the works right now.
What's the most misunderstood thing about drone warfare?
You can't even fathom the threat. People see it and they hear about it in the news, but they're totally underestimating what's coming.
It's almost like a revenue chart of NVIDIA 5 years ago, and you say, oh, that's hypergrowth, and then you kind of zoom out another 5 years and just like dwarfs what happened.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be truly, truly insane. The enemy is making so many drones. Everyone is buying drones. They're so cheap. They're getting smarter with AI. and people are learning how to use them more effectively as weapons. And I expect 1,000x increase in the threat in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yeah, just on that point, talk to me about this shift from big, expensive, exquisite systems towards cheap, small, and attritable ones. Like, how does that change warfare? How should it change America's tactics and strategy?
So I actually think that the richer countries like the U.S. and China, I think the exquisite weapons are here to stay. Like, I do think that they're important. Like, a big, fighter jets can dominate the battlefield. Like, a little FPV drones can't do shit against a fighter jet. So there's always a place for them. What's changed?
What would happen?
Oh, God.
Maybe the altitude is different, but would it be ever a case where like 1,000 drones could actually take down an F-35, or is that just not comparable?
Sure. Like autonomous fighter jets, but those are hard to build and those are expensive too. So like, I think the exquisite, and I would consider those to be exquisite, because I think those are hard to do. Like I think General Dynamics or General Atomics and Anduril are trying to compete on one right now. Collaborative combat. Okay, those are going to be expensive. Those are exquisite. But there's always room. My point I'm trying to make is there's always room for the exquisite weapon systems. I mean, look at our attack on Iran recently. We bombed them with big bunker buster bombs with the B-2 bombers. Like, that's exquisite. However, what's changed is that other countries can't afford to make those exquisite weapons, but they can afford to buy a swarm of drones and wage war in their region. That's what's changed. What's changed is poor countries can now wage war. And that's
very good.
Like kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. Eric Prince has said it's like the biggest change in warfare since Genghis Khan put stirrups on horses.
It's crazy. Yeah, no, I was talking to him at Detroit at Reindustrialize about it.
Yeah. Talk me through. I'm just when I discovered all the innovation that was going on in drones and anti-drones a couple of years ago. I was fascinated by all the different solutions. You have kinetic solutions like you guys, electronic warfare, microwaves, lasers. Is it possible to stack rank all the anti-drone solutions by cost per kill? And is that the metric that we should be paying attention to?
I think that there's two dimensions. There's the cost per kill, and then there's like the level of effectiveness based on drone type. And it's kind of like an XY plot, maybe. Maybe there's a third axis, but I have to think about that some more. But they all have different like utility and use cases. There's no one silver bullet, so to speak. And so, yeah, there's different stuff like electronic warfare, lasers, guns, there's microwaves, and they all have different utility. And it depends on what kind of drone you're trying to take down. Because like if a drone has shielding, for example, then you can't really hit it with a microwave. Like if it's shielded against that. Or if it has like reflective coating, a laser's not going to work that well. And so, you might have to go to the guns. But the guns have their own problems with range and stuff. And also maybe like how many you could take down in one engagement. So there's different like parameters. I do think, obviously, since I'm a bias because I make an AI machine gun, like I do think it's the most useful overall. That's why I'm doing this. Like, I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think I had the best product in the world, by far. Like, I already sold a company once and don't need this money. So, like, I just, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to try to have the best one. And so I think we have the best one by, a factor of 1,000.
I've heard you talk about battlefield economics, which maybe you should start a college course on that or something like that. Maybe it's going to be the hottest new area of economics. Do you think the DoD's head is with the battlefield economics, or do you think they're basically just focused mostly on, hey, let's get a better, more effective solutions?
I think it's starting to change. I started my career in the Navy, and we weren't really that concerned with cost in general. But I do think it's changing. Like, they are more concerned with costs now. I can't just go and charge whatever I want for Bullfrog. I've tried. So they're looking at these costs more seriously, and it's a good thing. But again, I think still though, we don't lead with, like, I don't want my sales team, like my marketing team, we don't really talk about how cost effective Bullfrog is, like, too much to the customer. That's like the final selling point. in a startup, you never really you want to say your product's 10 times better than the existing product. Not that it's 10 times cheaper. Because people look, you like to buy a Mercedes because it's like an expensive car. It's not like you're buying the cheap shit. People want like premium products. So like, I'm not like running around being like, oh, my turret's cheaper. No, I'm running around saying it's 10 times more capable. And then, oh, by the way, yeah, it is cheaper. And that's like an advice for any entrepreneur. You never lead with cost, ever.
I saw you post about there's so much fiber optic cable spill coming out of the back of drones in Ukraine now that birds are building nests with it. Do you have like a recent story or a recent development from Ukraine that just sticks in your mind about how much warfare is changing and how fast it's changing?
I mean, I would say like there's a couple of things. One, it's where's all this fiber coming from? And that's important to know, like, and that's coming from China. Like, basically. And I think they're selling it to both sides, probably. Like, I think they don't care. And that's the main story is China, like, not really Ukraine. So if you look at the war in Ukraine, China is profiting. And I think that the main metric is sales. And we're losing the sale. Like, we used to be the primary exporter of weapon systems. And we still are as a country, but we're losing our lead there. So we're going to lose our influence because other countries are now buying from China. And we're going to lose the sales game. It's really, 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 really sad and dangerous. So I always tell like our government, like we need to change the ITAR rules, open up the floodgates because we need our industry to be able to sell to more places more freely. And you're seeing it in Ukraine, like we're not having as much influences there as we should be.
Talk to me about China and, kind of your views on the military industry there. Obviously, everyone knows they produce a ton of drones, but where are they in the other areas of warfare that really matter? Where are they on, AI and the battlefield and so on?
I mean, they're beating us. They're building more ships than us. They're building more drones than us. They don't have as good of, I would say, software as we do. Like we definitely have like better, we're leading on AI. But I think as far as hardware and weapon systems, they're able to build way more. I mean, in Shenzhen, it's the world's factory. That's what they call it. And it's just an amazing, amazing place. And if you go to China, it's like a whole like alien world compared to what you see in the US. Like it just looks like a different planet. And it's very concerning that they just have such a huge manufacturing lead. I do think that we can catch up potentially and bridge the gap with products like Bullfrog and our AI systems are better and more capable. But yeah, I mean, as far as shipbuilding goes, drones, these are two primary important things that they just are beating the heck out of us on.
What other industries or companies are kind of important to the military space, but not directly? And where I'm going with this is BYD important, is CATL important, batteries, things like that?
I mean, the most important company for all of these products is NVIDIA. And NVIDIA's supply chain is heavily Asia, Taiwan, TSMC, right? And so if you have an NVIDIA product in your robot, like we do, I mean, everyone does, by the way, like anyone using an NVIDIA Jetson for their robot, your supply chain's at risk if China takes Taiwan. And I think that's an important thing to watch. The other thing to watch is like MP Materials, which is a mining company. They mine neodymium. Neodymium is the main magnet in all of these motors that go in these robots. So like these are the two really important American companies. China and Myanmar, they mine way more neodymium than we do. So like we're like 1/6 of the world's neodymium in our country, and they have like almost all the rest of it. And so again, a huge deficit in rare earths. Obviously very concerning.
Just make that more concrete. If that neodymium supply went away for tomorrow for whatever reason, is it a case where you literally wouldn't be able to produce drones in America?
Well, it depends on the brushless motors the drones are, but like a lot of these motors use this rare earth or a rare earth in the brushless motor that is slightly like similar one to that we also mine. So yeah, like that's a concern. And the brushless motors shortage could happen to us for drones. For us, it's more of our pitch motor, our motor that moves the gun up and down. That uses rare earths. And, we're looking at other options. I've been, I can't really, talk about it on the phone because it's kind of a competitive advantage. But yeah, like there's other options potentially. But it's certainly something I watch out for a lot because it's kind of like a macro trend.
Don't leak the alpha, Steve. Don't leak the alpha.
Yeah.
Listen, if you could go max long one other defense tech company, obviously other than Allied Control Systems, who would it be and why?
Max long? Other than my company?
Of course. You're max long already.
I would say I'm a big fan of Aeon. I think that the shoulder-fired rocket space is ripe for disruption, and I think that they're well-positioned with almost no competition there. I also like the Vatten, the underwater vehicle. I think that space is ripe for disruption. Basically, I'm max long anyone making a robotic product. Like, I think that's more important than making like all this. Like, I don't think like just random straight software companies in this space do well, and I don't think just like a pure hardware manufacturing does well. I'm long like companies like Aeon or Vatten or Bullfrog or ACS. The three of us, what we have in common is we're all making a robotic product, like a product we can sell over and over again. That is repeatable. So that's what I'm long on. And there's a lot of companies that are not trying to build a repeatable thing, but they say they are.
Who will be the largest defense contractor in 10 years? In market cap.
I think ACS in 36 months by market cap. I mean, we have the best robotic product, the largest total addressable market. Every military across every country needs to upgrade all of their guns to hit drones in the next 5 years. Our sales pipeline is so insane. We're the most in-demand product. And yeah, I mean, I think just on a single product, the largest defense company in the world.
I love it. Tell us about the roadmap for Allied Control Systems. Where are you today? What does the next 12 to 18 months look like?
Well, we have one other. Well, we have it. So our whole vision is like around AI, machine guns, and precision robotics and then making basically dumb bullets, cheap bullets, more precise, right? So Bullfrog's the first version of that. It's a point defense solution. I'll just say high level. We have an area denial, area defense machine gun, AI gun that will be more for like area of effect. And that's like, I can't say too much about it, but that'll be the other product. But all the same common theme of just like AI machine guns. Because that's kind of like, we think that that's the future of the battle space because the guns are good, the robotics can get so accurate that the bullets can get on any target, and it's way cheaper than interceptors or any sort of other type of product. And so that's where we're headed, and scaling our manufacturing on Bullfrog so that we can become the largest defense company in the world.
Steve, I know we're coming up on time here. I like to finish with a game of overrated, underrated. So I'm going to name 10 defense technologies. You say overrated, underrated, or properly rated.
Okay.
Good?
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Swarms.
Underrated.
Subsea drones.
Which one?
Subsea drones, underwater drones.
Oh. Properly rated.
Space weapons.
Overrated.
Electronic warfare.
Overrated.
Israel's Iron Dome.
I think properly rated. Very good.
The Golden Dome.
Overrated.
Microwave weapons.
I think overrated.
Loitering munitions.
Underrated.
Combat humanoid robots.
Overrated by far.
Anti-drone lasers.
I would say properly rated.
That's it, Steve. We got the 10. Thank you so much for your time. Where can people find out more about what you guys do, what Control Systems does?
follow me on LinkedIn and Twitter, and then AllenControlSystems.com.
You forgot to plug the number one defense tech podcast in the world. Come on, man.
I mean, my marketing team will kill me. I know. I'm about to go golfing. That's why I was like, oh man, I got to golf now. But no, the Drone Ultimatum on YouTube, Spotify, Apple. I talk about all these products all the time, and I hope it's a public service for the defense industry.
Steve Simoni, thank you so much for your time, and we'll talk soon.
Thank you. Bye.